Greetings, folks. Greetings. We're out here again today. We're doing another motorcycle upgrade. Today we're going to be putting on a Tusk grip heater. And we're also going to be installing some new grips and some bar end mirrors. And these are all going on my KLR right there. We're going to have to take the tank off. We're going to have to take the seat off. And we're going to have to do some electrical work. I've never done electrical work on my own bike. I've done it on a few mopeds, but that's about it. So this is going to be an interesting little learning experience, I'm sure. Let me get myself set up and then I'll walk you through my tools and all that. Thankfully, we're not going to be needing to jack up the bike today. And if I get this all finished, I've also got a full set of LED lights for my entire bike. It's dashboard lights right up here, headlight, tail light, blankers, license plate light, indicator lights. I don't think I'm gonna get that far today, but if I do, I'll be shooting another video for it. But I say we get started. So I was just watching the video that I'm referencing. It's by Rocky Mountain ATV for the Tusk hand grip heater installation. And these ones right here. And it's unclear to me which exact tools I'm gonna need throughout this job, because there's so many different electrical things that could go sideways while I'm doing this. So I've got some electrical equipment, but I'm not sure what exactly I'll need. Let me show you here. I've got my full toolbox. I'll definitely need some 8mm sockets to take the fenders off and the tank. And I'll need a screwdriver, I think, but really I'm not sure what I need. I'm also, since I'm installing these bar end mirrors, I'll need a knife or a razor to cut the end off this, but that's getting a little too far ahead of myself right now. I don't really know what I'm gonna be doing, so I'm just gonna update you with the tools needed as I go, I think. And hopefully this video is not too long. What am I gonna be starting with, though? I think I will start by getting these fenders off, getting the seat off, and getting the tank off. And the fenders, 2 8mm. I think there's a couple bolts under the seat here holding the tank down. I think there are some Phillips head screws for the seat. But I say we just get into it. Okay, so I got the seat and fenders off, and I got these bolts taken out. These are 10mm. The bolts for the fenders were 8mm. There were a couple screws for the seat there. And next, we're going to be disconnecting our fuel lines to get our gas tank off. This one needs to come off. And then there are a few down here connected to the petcock, I want to say it is. Petcock. And then we will be lifting the tank up. Okay, we got the tank off. I got this all tidied up a little bit with my simple green here. And I also got the front cowl off. I don't know if that is going to have been a necessary step, but it does make all this much easier to access. And I think while I'm here, I'm gonna go through and figure out why my headlight stopped working a while ago, along with some of my dash lights and my brake light. When I changed the clutch cable a while ago, this was like 4 weeks ago now, most of my lights stopped working, but not all of them. So I may try to get that figured out today too, but on to the next. I think the next step is going to be taking off our old grips. I'm also going to be changing my throttle cables today. I forgot to mention that. These just feed down here, all the way down to our carb right there. And I'll just be changing those. I got some Motion Pros over there. Yeah, I'll be cutting these off, cutting these grips off, and then I'll be going from there. I'm not quite sure what I'm doing next. Okay, I moved my bike. It was sitting over there a bit ago. Moved it to get under the shade of this tree, but it's starting to get dark. It's starting to get evening time. It's about 6 o'clock. Been out here 2 hours, and I just finished taking the old grip off of my throttle. This probably took an hour, maybe an hour and a half. Took the throttle cables out. I'm gonna put my new ones in there. Oh, that was really annoying, and it's still very shoddy. I mean, look at all that. Should be able to get my new grips over that, but that's just jank. That's the nice little pile of rubber that I dug out. Yeah, I'm tired at this point, you know. I am considering just putting my tank back on, covering the bike up, and then like bringing everything inside for the night. I may do that, I may not, but you will see in just a few seconds when the next shot comes up. Yeah, this is a lot. All right. Well, you'll see. You'll see what I end up doing next. Okay, I ended up going inside last night. I was getting tired, it was getting a little dark, and I'm back out here. Got all my stuff off again, and I think, well, let me tell you about this. So here was the throttle turner. Don't exactly know what you'd call this specific piece, but I finally got all the rubber off. It took me like 2 hours inside after I made that last recording last night, and I didn't get all of it off nearly. It was so freaking glued down there. But I also made this little hole that I'll be able to fit these bar end mirrors through. I had to drill a number of holes around the outside here, and then I ended up taking a file and filing down everything until the mirror would fit through. Oh, so it's been a long job so far. My next step is going to be putting these new throttle cables on. This one in front of me is a push, the one in the back is a pull. And here are my old throttle cables, and I don't exactly know which one is push and which one is pull. I think, so this was on here like this. I think, yeah, I don't know which one was which. I'm gonna have to do some thinking about that, maybe look it up, and I will update you when I'm done. This is a crazy freaking jank job right here. Please do not follow any of my advice. I'm not a mechanic in the least. Okay, after just doing some quick thinking, some intuition, I've decided that this one is pull, because it is, when you're pulling the throttle back, this hole corresponds to this cable, and you would be pulling it back, and then the push one, which I'm guessing is this one, and would go through this hole right here, would push your handle back forward. And coming down here to the carburetor, I think this little loop right here connecting down here is where I'm gonna put the pull cable, and this one further back going through this loop up here down to this hole, that's gonna be push. And if it's wrong, it'll just be a quick little switch up. So let's do it. Just got these cables installed. Got the pull one down here, push up here, pull here, push here, and it's turning well, snapping back. Okay, I'm gonna tighten down these screws in a second here, holding this throttle housing on. And then we're getting down to the grip heaters. I'm not exactly sure what I'm doing for those, as is common with this frickin' job. So I'm going to watch the video from Rocky Mountain ATV and see what to do next. Okay, so I think I figured out the wiring here. It's definitely not the best surface to demonstrate this on. It's a lot of leaves and things, but it'll work for now. So what I ended up doing is I took each of the heating elements, each of those, and off of each of these come 2 wires. Now it does not matter, they're both the same, it doesn't matter which of these wires you use for what, but what you want to do is take a single wire from each of these and run them together for the ground. Now in the Rocky Mountain ATV video, the guy used an eyelet. Now an eyelet did not come with this kit. He had to have one previously, but an eyelet is one of those little things that you can crimp wires to, that has a little metal hole around the end of it, and you can like screw one of the bolts into the eyelet, and then it provides you with a ground connection. I don't have one of those, so I may just like slightly loosen one of the bolts on my frame that would provide a ground, and then tighten the bolt down onto this wire. And that may work, and it may not. If it doesn't, then this job is gonna take even longer, and I'm gonna have to go over to a store, buy one, come back, and then put it on. But I think I'm gonna put everything else on before I end up doing that. So I'll install everything, run that to a bolt without an eyelet, and then see if it works. And I think regardless of whether it works or not, I may go get an eyelet anyway. But yeah, for now I'm just going to be running that to a bolt, installing everything, and then moving on from there. Anyway, so that all that's to say that ground connection, the guys on Rocky Mountain ATV used an eyelet. The other wire that's coming off of these heating elements, both of them will be, you'll follow them down here, and they will go into this blue connector that came with the kit. And so you put them in there, crimp them down. I just crimped them down with some wire cutters here. And then there is a pair of wires that is separate from those heating elements in the kit, and those end at this little terminating point here. That is where you will splice the whole thing into a live wire so that you can get power to the whole thing. both sides of the wire, or one side of the wire has a resistor, one side doesn't. And so the side that doesn't is going to be your high power setting, the side that does is going to be your low power setting. The resistor slows down electricity so less can get to where it's going. Here's the switch. What happens here is, where's the resistor going? It's this one. Okay, so this terminal right here is going to be your low power. This terminal up here is going to be your high power. And how that works is when you switch down, like that, the circuit gets connected to this one. So there's like a little metal piece that connects to this circuit. That's high power. That this wire doesn't have a resistor. When you go the other way, this is low power. This is the one with the resistor. And when the switch is over here, it just connects this terminal. I think that's about all for that. So next step is going to be taking off the backing of these heating elements, sticking them on my bars. I'm going to be using some electrical tape to tape down right next to these connections right here, and I'll also be using a zip tie right next to them, and I'll show you how all that looks. People on the internet have said that these connections have failed pretty regularly, so the electrical tape and the zip tie just hold them down so that they're not being jostled around when you're using them regularly. So yeah, so I'll stick these down, I'll get the zip tie and the electrical tape on, and we'll go from there. Got the heaters put on. There's a little trouble with both of them. I think it was just because my grips were so caked with like rubber and stuff. This one was too. It did not stick down very well, so I got this piece of duct tape wrapped around it, and I'm hoping that does what it needs to and doesn't like melt or something like that. I don't think it will. I also put electrical tape and a zip tie around the end of each of the heaters where the wires come out, just to secure those down and make sure that they don't break while in use. It's still snapping back well. Now, I don't know what to do next, so I will look at that video. This is so overwhelming, it's kind of crazy, but we're gonna get through it. So I've taken out my multimeter. What else have I done? I have, since last recording, I have gone through and tidied up just the end part of the wires here. The rest of the wires are crazy, just all over the place, but I'm just gonna finish this and make sure it works, and then maybe like a couple days down the line I'll go through and undo everything, redo everything so that it looks all nice and all that. But I've taken a couple wires, these go to the switch, and I've just zip tied them down to my handlebar here. I've gotten my ground wires just out of the way. These are up here, and that's about all I've done as far as the wires go. The next step is to find a good ground for these ground wires to go to up here. And what I did with that is I used a multimeter for the first time. I also tried using a probe, one of those, but I could not figure it out. So I got my new multimeter, and what this was you put the negative connection, negative probe in this COM bit here, and you put the red positive probe at this V omega milliamp connection. And then I turned it on to 20. There you go. And what you do to figure out where your ground is you take the positive connection on your battery. I'm gonna turn my motorcycle off real quick. Take the positive connection, put your positive probe onto the positive terminal, and then you take your negative probe, your black one, and you just start touching bits of the frame, bits of metal that you think might be a good ground until you get a 12 volt reading on here. When it says 12, that means that you've got a good ground. And I found a good one right up here that will not require me to buy more wires. I think I will be able to fit both of those down to that nut right there. Let me actually see if there's anything on the other side. Yeah, so there's those 2 bolts right there. I think what I will end up doing is taking these 2 ground wires, loosening this bolt right here, this nut, feeding them underneath, and then tightening it back down pretty tight. And so I will do that and then get back with you. Okay, so I got my ground wires screwed into that nut right there. And the next step is to take this piece right here. This is where the power will be coming from, and we need to find a key on power source. So what that means is that when the bike is off, no power will be going to a wire, but when the key is turned on, then the wire will be sending power. And the guy in the Rocky Mountain video said to just take a look at, like, I guess any wire. I may end up doing this one or maybe this one, and to take your probe or multimeter and just go down and probe into each of those little metal bits in there and turn the key on to see if power is sent with the key on. This is by no means a comprehensive instructional video. This is literally just a video of me figuring out how the fuck all of this works. But yeah, so yeah, I'm gonna take my multimeter, I'll set it up again, put the positive on the battery over there. Or would it be positive? I have no fucking clue. I'm going to just wing it and see if I can get anything to work. Okay, I found a key on wire. So what I ended up doing was taking that multimeter and connecting the negative probe to my ground right here, and then I went through with this connected and tested each of these to see if any of them read a reading with the key off, and they were all 0. And then I turned the key on and tested each of them, and this brown wire came up with a 12 volt reading. So I will be connecting my grip heaters to that one. And how I will be doing that is I will be using this whatever this is called and I will be cutting away some of this electrical wire here and just inserting that brown wire into one of these holes, and the positive end of my, it's all blurry, positive end of my switch into the other hole. Super blurry, come on. And then I will be using pliers to press down this metal plate here, and that will puncture each of the wires and send power between both of them simultaneously. And I will show you what that looks like when I'm done. We are successful. I have spliced these wires here, And yeah, so this brown wire goes through this open end. The power end of the switch goes into that closed end. I squeezed that metal plate down onto both of them with some pliers, and then flipped this little clip around so that it doesn't come back up. And I turned on my bike and flipped the switch, and the grip heaters started heating up. So we are successful as far as that goes. Now I need to figure out a place to put the switch. I may literally just hang it off of here for a little while. And then I'm going to tidy up the wires as much as I can. And then the last few steps we'll be putting on our new grips and our bar end mirrors. That was very intimidating. Probably like 45 minutes ago when I was trying to figure out that multimeter and the probe. I was pretty close to just packing up and going inside, but you gotta stick with this type of stuff, you know? So I got all that figured out. I still have not yet been able to figure out what is wrong with my headlight and my dash lights. So that's for a different day though. It's almost 5:30, I think. I've got an hour's left of daylight, and I've got my J&S headlight, tail light, new blinkers and everything sitting in there, but that's gonna be way too much work for tonight. So don't show you my license plate there. Yeah, so I'm gonna clean up these wires. I'm gonna figure out a place for that switch and get my grips on. I'll walk you through it. And there it is. Got my grips on, got my mirrors on, and the sun has just about set. I've been out here for about 3.5 hours now. These freaking jobs are crazy how unexpectedly long they take. Let's see. I'm gonna have to loosen this mirror a little bit, but it's crazy how long these freaking jobs take. These grips were near freaking impossible to get on. I don't have an air compressor, so I was using like 2 screwdrivers and getting them on each side of the grip, and then just like twisting and pushing them down, and it took forever. But I've now got a working grip heater, and I've got some new grips, and I've got some new mirrors, and I've got extremely wide handlebars now, which is fine, but my goodness. Alright, should I put all this back together? So I'm gonna be out here again tomorrow doing the lights. Yeah, I think I'm going to do what I did yesterday and just sort of pile all this on here, throw the brain cover back on, get all my tools inside, and then come back out tomorrow and do my lights. I'm going to need to start much earlier than I did today. It's freaking insane. Okay, well, thank you for watching if you watched, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.